Welcome to the Point Out Loud, a Women Trailblazers podcast, Series 9 of Women in Sports, brought to you by the Salzman Center for Women's Leadership. Here at UW Stevens Point, we believe that meaningful change begins with students and leaders who are committed to shaping a more inclusive, innovative, and empowered campus.
This series highlights the voices of passionate leaders, such as students, professionals, and advocates who are making a meaningful impact in their communities. From campus initiatives to workplace programs, these leaders are redefining what it means to lead with drive, competition, and high impact.
As Frida Kahlo once said, at the end of the day, we can endure much more than we think we can. Today, we honor the students showing resilience and courage in every step they take. Today, we're excited to welcome Madison Schiefelbein, a Wisconsin-based creator specializing in documentary, commercial work, sports, short filmmaking, and music videos.
Madison's passion for storytelling began as a kid, making videos on iMovie, and evolved through high school projects and college studies in media and sociology. With a focus on exploring emotion in sports and a curiosity that drives her creative work, Madison brings a unique perspective to capturing compelling stories on screen. This is a complete seatbelt on kind of episode. Madison is, I hope that she blows you away the same way she impacted me. I was literally jaw-dropping. From Madison, she hits on these great themes. Always say yes, yet we persist. Confidence is an action, but here's where she floored me, and I want you to be watching for it too. She talked about her work as changing the imagination, and she's particularly interested in changing the imagination of who is in control. Boom.
Well, welcome, Madison, to the podcast.
Thank you.
Would you like to share a little bit about your journey into videography and how that eventually led you into working in sports?
Yeah, sure. So, I got my start in videography basically when I was around like 9 or 10. Me and my cousin would always make little iMovie videos on her iPad in our grandma's basement because that was just the most fun thing that we could think of to do. And we would make probably like 3 or 4 at a time, and we would do it every year because like when I would visit my grandma. And that was always just like a fun thing we did. And then when I went to college, I originally came here with my major being sociology, which I did finish, but then something happened where I needed 100 more credits for some reason. So I just decided to add a major, and I was like, okay, well, now I kind of got a boring major out of the way. I kind of have time to do what I want to do. And I was thinking like, what would be fun for me? Like, what would I maybe want to pursue later that I could tie into this sociology degree? So I picked media studies because when I first came here, I volunteered at the radio station with Mac because that was basically my only social interaction because I came here with like no friends. So I just started showing up at the radio station all the time, and then the people who were the staff there were all media studies majors, so obviously they all pushed me towards it. So I decided to pursue that, and it all just snowballed from there. For media studies, you need an internship, and Alex Ingersoll, one of the professors at shout out Alex Ingersoll. He sent out a mass email about how the Wausau Woodchucks, is a baseball team in Wausau, were hiring interns for videography. So I just said, what the heck, I'll apply for that one because I hadn't applied for any. And I got it because one of the people who were hiring was an alumni of UWSP. So I wasn't really into sports videography at the time. I just kind of needed an internship, but that summer changed my life, basically. It was the most fun I've ever had at a job. I just fell in love with videography. Sociology was basically just out the window. I couldn't think of anything that I would rather do with my time. So after the summer was over, I decided I kind of wanted to keep doing that, and I got in touch with one of the media people here. His name is Vincent, and he decided to hire me on as a student videographer for UWSP for the athletics department. So when that summer was over, I was able to just like hop right back into it and do all of the sports here for the whole year doing videography. Yes, and that was so much fun. Yeah, and then when I graduated, I got hired back as a photographer for the athletics department, not a videographer. And that's what I've been doing basically this whole year. Otherwise, I got a job as a producer at a video production company here in Point. It's not, it doesn't have to do with sports, but it's 1,000 Lumens. Which
congratulations.
Thank you. The founders of that company are UWSP alumni as well.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great humans too, right?
Yes, they're awesome actually.
Yeah, I love that. And 1,000 Lumens just launched a podcast, right? I don't know if you want to do a plug
They did.
for
It's
it.
called 1,000 Proof.
Ooh.
We're gonna be uploading once a month for the near future. We're just talking about marketing, and it's kind of paired with beverages because one of the founders, Zach of 1,000 Lumens, also owns Daisy Lounge downtown. Another plug. Yeah. So we'll have little marketing cocktail podcast.
You know, I love the ambition and the drive of our alum, and that shows up in so many different ways, right? So I have 2 follow-up questions for you. They're very different. So first, I just want to shout out how excited I am about your internship and how it changed your life. Listeners, particularly those of you who bring interns into your business, just remember they're looking for this kind of experience.
Yes.
And then also listeners who are either coming to our campus or are on campus now, believe what they say about internships and try to do a few of them, because it really does open your pathway.
Yes, I will say that the most job experience or major related experience, that knowledge that I got was from jobs and not necessarily from school.
Yeah.
So
and so we underpin, just like what you said about sociology.
Yes.
Sometimes that feels a little less than exciting, but we're expanding your mind and your critical thinking and your ability to speak. That's what you bring to the other exciting stuff sometimes.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, favorite iMovie, please.
Favorite iMovie? What do you mean?
Well, you made all those little iMovies, so what was the favorite one?
So what we would do was basically take the trailer. They had little templates for you to just add your videos in, and it'd be kind of like a trailer. We would always do the horror one.
Oh my gosh.
It'd be like, oh, there's something scary going on like next door.
Yeah.
We loved that one so much. We actually remade it like 3 times. So I would have to say that one. And then for my this is kind of embarrassing, but for one of my video production finals, I made an iMovie trailer just because it kind of went back to my roots.
Yeah. So there's nothing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
No shame in our roots, right?
Yeah.
So, I have so many questions I want to ask you, but you mentioned one of your mentors' names, right? A professor here that was really helpful to you. So we'd love to know more about what mentors or experiences that you had in your UWSP, network of relationships. Who were those people? What did they bring you?
Yeah, so Alex Ingersoll kind of kicked it off with the Woodchucks internship, but I would say the professor that was a little bit more of a mentor to me was Kevin Obsatz.
Okay,
Shout out.
Go Kevin.
Yes, he probably was my favorite professor because he was the professor that I had most of my media classes with. It's just kind of how the cookie crumbled. But, inside of those classes, he really does just encourage everybody to just go do everything that they can. One of his mottos is just to, always say yes, no matter what, to every job, because you never know where it's going to take you. And that kind of has taken me a lot of places because, from one job, you meet this person who recommends you for another job. All of my jobs that I've gotten have been from word of mouth. So for Kevin to be so encouraging, and he's also advocating for me outside of school, so he got me my job at 1,000 Lumens. He reached out to the founders and he said Madison is a #1 candidate and I think you guys should meet, and we met and then they hired me.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kevin's been really, really paramount in me getting the ball rolling, getting all my jobs. So
yeah, I love that. I do want to say though, I'm sorry, I will always be a professor. I want to say you got the job.
Yes.
Kevin got you the connection.
Yes, Kevin's been really good for connections. So he's gotten me connected to a lot of people that maybe it doesn't happen to snowball into a job, but at least I then have that person that I can like talk to about advice or just see what they're doing, get inspiration from them. So yeah.
Yeah, your work is impressive. Like when
Thank you.
a colleague in the field, Mac, who's our producer, is in the room with us, and Mac is like really into Madison's work. And so when somebody in your field is praising you, that's a big deal.
Yes, thank you.
So with talking about your favorite iMovie, now I want to redirect to what's been your favorite project that you've worked on with UWSP Sports.
With UWSP Sports, there hasn't been a ton of projects. I would say one of the favorite things I've done was I was actually able to travel with the women's basketball team to their tournament in Florida. Ooh. They had a winter tournament, and I went as their team videographer, and it was my first like kind of paid trip, so I was super excited to be going on that. I made a couple hype videos, I made highlight reels. We ended up going undefeated there, so it was a really good experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it. Did you get a little badge that, like a press badge or photographer badge?
No, I did they didn't have those at the place, but I did get one of those for women's basketball last year, their NCAA tournament. Yeah. They made it to, I don't remember what seed it was, but I got a little badge, and I remember walking up to the press box, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have my own name printed. I had like a chair and a workspace that doesn't usually happen in sports, so it was really exciting.
Yeah. Oh God, I love that. That's for
so
you.
Cute. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just that good kind of jealous.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so speaking of like what you just said, you said you usually don't get that in media, right? Mm-hmm. You get a space, a chair, called out on a badge. What do you think people often overlook about the media and the production side of sports?
I think people often overlook how much work it actually takes. Marketing and media especially are something that businesses kind of glaze over as not needed or kind of easy to do. So they either don't allocate a lot of funds towards that, or they don't appreciate the people that are there doing that job as much as they should. It's really difficult, and it's detail oriented, and it takes a lot of time. And it just honestly takes an eye, which you can either be born with, or it takes practice to have an eye like that too. So
that's a great answer. So listeners, I really want to ask you to support folks like Madison who have an eye, or they've spent time developing an eye, bringing that about in their life, as well as all the hours that they have to put in. And I think this is kind of a wholesale call to look at, what are you investing in that part of your business or that part of your organization, and are you valuing it? What would be a sign for you that an organization was really valuing you when they bring you in?
Most of the jobs that I felt most valued at were ones that were willing to pay me a good rate. Sometimes I feel like when you give clients your rate about, this is what it's going to be an hourly, or this is my day rate, people, obviously I understand trying to meet your budget, but I felt the most appreciated with people who were willing to have budgets to fit me in there, rather than people who wanted my service but kind of just wanted me to work with them about their budget, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I'm always happy to work with anybody's budget, because I should always say yes, according to Kevin, right. Which is true. But I will say I do feel more appreciated when people kind of advocate for me more to be on the team instead of take it or leave it sort of thing.
Yeah, I really love that. So listeners, really good 2 words of wisdom. And I think those of you who are are setting budgets in marketing and in videography, it's really offering those opportunities that students and other emerging professionals can say yes to, but it's also making sure you understand the going rates for those things so that you can properly budget for that talent that's being developed or has already been developed.
Sure. And I don't want to undermine, I will, I think you should work with people on their budgets, even if it's lower than you might have done, because it's always an experience that you can put under your belt. There's kind of experiences that you can say, maybe I don't want to do, so I will charge you more. And if you don't want to do that, that's okay. Sometimes there will be opportunities that are just very, very exciting that they might not want to pay you as much, but you yourself want to do it a lot. So I've definitely taken lesser pay for really big jobs that have been super exciting to me.
I love that. So you've got this great combination of humility and drive to learn and to grow, and I love the way you bring that
Thank you
into your client work.
Thank you.
So now I want to talk about your time at 90 FM.
Sure.
I heard that you broadcasted the men's volleyball game for like the first time ever.
I think so. Yeah, it was the first men's volleyball broadcast that 90 FM did. My good friend Liam, he was the sports director at 90 FM, who I also met working at the Wausau Woodchucks. He was a sports broadcaster there. We basically came in and said, we don't have a broadcaster for this sport. And I said, I love volleyball, so me and Ian will do it, like as a joke. And then it kind of was like, if you're serious, we can do it. It's just kind of an hour or 2 hours of your time, and it'll be over after that. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll do it. And it ended up being really fun. Me and Ian were just, laughing on the broadcast. I don't think we were too worried about it because it was just something that we accepted to do, and we decided to like have the most fun that we could with it, and it was a really good experience.
That's so good.
That's awesome. What else did you do at 90 FM?
I went in when I first started working there, I went in weekly, and I was just a general programming DJ there. When I first started there, I was an opener, so I would get there at 5 in the morning.
Oof.
Yeah, and I lived in Wausau, so I would get up at 3, get ready to leave at 4:30, and then I would be there at 5 because I just wanted to be a part of it so bad, and that was just one of the only opening that worked with my school schedule. So I did that for a semester, and then I think I kind of decided that I didn't want to do it that early anymore. So the next year I did a later one. And also for trivia, that's coming up in April, by the way. For a couple of those years, I did the news it was like every hour on the hour we would do news, and you can do a shift, and you basically got to pick your story. It was really fun. I just always tried to bring like a fun story in there and just be silly on air just to give some people a laugh.
I love that, giving some people a laugh.
Yeah.
That's always a good play, isn't it?
Yes.
So I'm curious about hope. So we ask all of our guests this question, and we think about the time that we're living in, right? And what it means for women to be in this time. I think about, in terms of your field, just a little bit off, but similar, the women photographers at the Olympics. We've been seeing and hearing a lot about them.
I wrote that down in my notes.
Yeah. Anything you want to say about them? Any observations?
Yeah, I just think it's kind of super awesome about the representation. So at the Paris 2024 Olympics, female photographers only took up 15% of like the entire staff there, if that is right. I looked that up, so
yeah, I'm sure it's right.
And anyways, 87% of the photographers in the hockey pool at the Winter Olympics were women, so that's 7 out of 8 photographers.
Yeah.
That's just really cool because you haven't really seen that in years past, and for it to change so drastically in this short amount of time, it kind of was like it was really inspiring to me, because it's like, hey, these are capable women who are coming out and being confident and like willing to get their own spot in at one of the biggest sports event in the world.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool to see that.
Yeah, I have to say Olympians do give me a lot of hope, and it was really fun this year, because the photographers are getting so much, they're just being covered well. Now I'm branching out from Olympians, and I'm thinking about the people who are part of, as you said, the Olympic events.
I also wrote that down. So when you think about trailblazers in sports, most people think about athletes, but there's also a lot of people behind the camera and the mics and, the statistics and the analytics that are women who fought to be taken seriously. So for decades, like women, sports media and sports in general has been dominated by men. And I'm really glad to see this shift, because women weren't just underrepresented in years past. They were completely excluded. So I'm just really proud of all the women who decided to take that jump, because, we persist. Like
we persist.
Yes, yet we persist, even though like the representation hasn't always gone in our favor. Giving up like really isn't the answer. It's kind of just persistence and annoyance, perseverance.
I love that. Wait. That's magic. What you just said. I felt like a little jolt of electricity there. You said persistence, and then you kind of a little bit under your breath said and annoyance.
Yeah.
What's that?
So, I mean, I guess especially this is my experience as a photographer, videographer. Not only in sports, in just regular film too, commercial work. It can kind of feel like when you're asking for what you need as a photographer, whether it be respect, time, just, to be taken seriously, can kind of feel like you're being annoying to people. Like, this is what I need and this is how you can give it to me. Whereas men really don't need to ask for that stuff, so it's not annoying when, they need it and whatever. So I have felt like sometimes I'm kind of a burden asking for this, but it's something that needs to be asked for, and if you don't get it, it's a problem. Yeah, I just love your directness in that space. So I think I've inferred a lot from what you've said about what gives you hope. It's about persisting. It's about agreeing to go ahead and put yourself out there the way you see so many women doing around the Olympics, right? Those who are producing and photography, right? Taking and video, and as you said, behind the mic. Is there anything else that personally jazzes you up and gives you hope? I guess especially speaking about representation in sports media, it's kind of that confidence is an action. And once I figured that out, it was kind of lights out for me. I was no longer scared to, be in those spaces. It kind of felt like when you're coming up to a lineup of a bunch of guys in the photography space, you're scared to, ask if you can get up there and start taking some pictures. But once you realize that confidence is something that you do and not necessarily something that you just innately have or you should have, it's freeing, really, because you're able to just go up there and be like, I need a spot here, I work here, and this is where I'm going to be. Yes.
Oh.
Move out of the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get out of the way.
Out of the way. It's my turn.
Yes, and women are some of the most creative people that I've ever met. So it's just kind of not only about representation, it's about like changing the imagination, like who controls it.
Oh, that is
those
magic.
are such strong words. Wow.
Thank you.
So continue with these strong words as I ask you, what advice would you give to younger women who want to pursue this kind of career?
Well, the first one I would say is confidence is an action, not a feeling. I had already said that, but it's also to realize that everyone else alongside you is also learning. So it's kind of, when you're new to something, it can kind of feel like everybody else is an expert and you don't really know what you're talking about and you're not allowed to know what you're talking about. But once you realize that like everyone beside you is also learning as well, it's kind of, it made me feel better because, it doesn't make you feel as small.
That makes me feel better too, that everyone is learning.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm still learning. Not everybody is still learning.
Yes, and
it's really nice.
It's hard for women to have a place to learn and, be welcome to have that space. But if you just allocate that for yourself and don't ask for it, it's a lot better.
Yeah. I have to say I'm really struck by your language. You're a very good speaker. You have
Thank you.
Great visual power in your language, right? So
Thank you.
you're not, you're great at the mic and behind the lens. So
Thank you.
Yeah, we really, really appreciate that about you. And, I have to say when I started out my life, not just my career, but my life, I felt very small.
Right.
For a number of different reasons. And I think the culture around me just reinforced how small I was.
Absolutely.
Right. And I live for words that you gave me today. I really do live to change the imagination. And I think showing up with that kind of confidence that you're talking about does indeed change the imagination. Where did you come by this notion that you are an imagination changer?
So it was kind of all about like other women being represented in this space. So I would see a bunch of movies that maybe were produced, directed, actually not a bunch of movies, a few movies that were produced and directed by women. And I just noticed that they have such a different touch in, you know, the feeling, the vibe, and how those videos go. So it was kind of inspiring because when you watch a movie that's directed by a man, you can kind of see like assumed roles, just like different power dynamics and maybe different ways of thinking, different ways of thought within the shot, not necessarily the dialogue or anything like that. It can be completely related to cinematography or just direction itself. I think it's very obvious when a woman directs and or produces because it seems a lot smoother to me.
Kelsey, you're nodding your head. Have you noticed it's different when...
See, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really watch a ton of movies for me to be like, yeah. See, I enjoyed the Barbie movie, and I cannot tell you if that was made by a woman.
Yeah, it was.
It was?
Yes.
Okay.
Greta Gerwig, shout out.
Woo woo, that's right.
I would have figured.
She's one of the woman trailblazer directors that I've probably looked up to.
Yeah, let's not
that's
forget
awesome.
Shonda Rhimes.
Yes.
Oh, good. Yes. Okay.
Can't forget.
Yep. See, I loved the Barbie movie, how it really advocated for women and for men as well.
Yeah, for both, right?
For both, yeah. But I think it was very structured for women, which I really enjoyed. And the movie was covered in pink. And it's my favorite color.
I love pink.
I love pink.
That's right. It legitimizes pink, doesn't it? I just had my colors done and pink isn't in my palette. I'm very sad. Pink and black
I
are
don't
out.
think pink's in mine either.
I need to do that then. I would cry if pink is not in my palette. I love the color pink so much.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's not to say like any movie directed by a man isn't good. I love a lot of directors who are male.
Yeah.
But I think there's just like a certain touch that sometimes if you had to guess, it might be a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate before when I was asking you questions about what can people who are buying your service bring to the table, and you gave a really bold answer, and then you said, and I don't want to undermine anyone, right?
Yes.
And I appreciate that. I've had a couple of students in the MBA who came to further their photography business or launch their photography business, and they ran into these same kinds of pricing things that you were talking about, and I think that's why I was being a kind of a bold advocate. And I think that you do a really nice job of mixing power, right? These bold, powerful statements and bold, powerful vision and language with a humility and a curiosity.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, okay, so I'm going to ask you one last question. I think your palette is power.
Thank you. So sweet.
Yeah. So I think you've got some really good things ahead of you.
Thank you.
How do you want to use that power palette?
I mean, I would probably say I really just want to use it to keep creating, to show that, to change that imagination, right? To show that who controls the story, who controls the narrative can be really anybody. It doesn't have to be one person or another. To me, it's just kind of about representation. I'm all about women in male-dominated spaces, so I'm gonna try and be in those as much as I can, and just advocate for other women in those spaces as well.
Yeah. Well, it has been a blast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for using a lot of your powerful words.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was really good. So we just wish you the best, and we're looking forward. Like I love the idea of doing a check-in with so many of our folks, but I'm really looking forward to checking in with you in a couple years.
Thank you.
Seeing what you've accomplished.
Yes. Hopefully I make it big.
Woo! That's right. We'll be telling We Knew Her Win stories.
Yeah. If you want an autograph, get it now.
Thank you for joining us for our 9th series of Women in Sports at UWSP. We hope these stories inspire you to step up, speak out, and make a difference in your own communities.
Maya Angelou once said, "We may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated." Let's carry that resilience with us into everything we do.
Be sure to tune into our next series where we will continue to amplify the voices of those creating meaningful impact.
Until then, keep pushing forward, keep advocating, and keep driving change.